Hello, friends. I just made some fairly simple candy and had to do with chia seeds and golden flax seeds ground up and then mixed with pumpkin seeds. I know it doesn't sound like candy yet, but it'll get there. Pumpkin seeds and Brazil nuts all ground up together and then mixed with raisins and some non-dairy chocolate chips and some molasses, and blended it all up, made it into this mushy patty of stuff. I found a way to just kind of smooth it out, and I put it in some wax paper. Looks like saltwater taffy, and it is kind of a taffy-like thing, but it's full of nutrients, and it tastes like candy. So, creative minds. It's a whole new world of creative minds and hearts. So today is the first day of your new life in a new world. And you know, it will it'll change as you change. So we've hit that vibrational frequency, that high vibe that we're going to remain at. It's it can be referred to as a fifth dimensional vibration as opposed to a third or a fourth dimensional vibration. All these higher dimensional beings, they all live. They're called higher dimensional beings because they live in higher dimensional energy. So you now are living in higher dimensional energy. Whether you're making the best use of it or not is up to you. And you don't want to. One of the things is in this fifth dimensional energy, this fifth dimensional frequency, is there's just not a lot of judgment. So that relates to yourself and others, judging yourself or judging others. There are four agreements from the book, The Four Agreements, Toltec, I think it's Toltec tradition, and they are be impeccable with your word. And people gave me a lot of trouble because I would say speak your truth, and they'd say, well, that's not being impeccable with your word, which to me it was. But anyway, I decided, if the originator of these four agreements stated be impeccable with your word, then gosh darn it, you should be impeccable with your word and use the term impeccable with your word. So that's one of them. Another one is do your best. A third one is don't assume. And you can just kind of assume, not assume what that means, but possibly not assume immediately that you understand something because you get it with your head. When you get it with your body, when you get it with your heart, then I would say you understand it. So don't assume you get it until you don't have to assume you got it because you got it. And then don't take it personally. And for a long time, that was the hardest one for me. I just found myself taking everything personally. But I feel like I'm, I'm B plus on the not taking it personally from where I started, which I was definitely a failure back when in the days when there was failure. Okay, so today, the first day of the 13,000 year cycle around the central sun, Hunan Ku was our central sun, and the Mayans considered it the one consciousness to which all consciousness comes from. And I've done a fair amount of spirit travel. And one of the times I did some spirit travel, I was taken by guides through, you know, through the cosmos to the central sun. And right next to the central sun, there's what could be referred to as a black hole. There's a vortex that goes down to an area of darkness, although you can see it, but it's an area of darkness next to the central sun. Kind of like the yin and yang symbol, like the dot of dark in the midst of the light, or the dot of light in the midst of the dark, that whole yin yang symbol, I feel relates to the central sun um, and central darkness. Not darkness in any kind of a bad way. I mean, basically, it's the space that houses the Divine Mother, so I didn't find it any sense of there being anything wrong there when I visited. So, we cycle this central sun. We circle this central sun. And each side is 13,000 years, and they go around, and we go around and around and around. So it's 26,000 years you end up when you started, and then you go up 13,000 years, and then you go back 13,000 years. So we're completing a 13,000 year cycle where the being as the soul of the earth was feminine and the surround of the earth was masculine. And now we're going to the being in the earth as the soul of the earth masculine and the surround being feminine. And I'm not going to do any name dropping right now, but the beings that are now holding a presence are, yeah, well, I am going to name drop. I said it wasn't, but I'm going to. Kuan Yin, who is the focus of compassion. So our earth is now surrounded by the consciousness of Kuan Yin, and the focus is compassion. And today, the beginning of all cycles within the Mayan calendar is the yellow sun. It's the 0 and the 20. So it's the beginning and the end. And as soon as you get to the end is a new beginning. And the end is the central sun, and the beginning is the central sun. It all revolves around the sun. Okay, so tone 13. So today is the 260 day in the Mayan calendar, 260-day cycle. So it's related to the 365 days cycle of the Earth around the sun, but the 260-day cycles are related to the 13 lunar tones and the 20 solar tribes or kin. So this is the end and the beginning. So we're at the 260th day of a 260-day cycle, and we're at the end of the 28 years of cleansing between two 13,000 year cycles. And today is a yellow cosmic sun. So I'm going to read about the cosmic tone. It's the 13th lunar tone, and it's about enduring, to endure, to transcend, and to presence. 13 is the key to the Mayan galactic codes of fourth and fifth dimensional time. I don't think there's a complete awareness within this context of this fifth dimensional consciousness that we've now entered. And it's also the key to the annual lunation cycles by which Earth is guided in her solar path. From the book 13 Moons in Motion, where 12 represents the coherent formation. I'm going to once again check on the volume. Where 12 represents the coherent formation of the sacred circle, 13 signifies the expansive spirit of the ascending spiral. Without the transcendent quality of 13, the force of circulation itself, 12 can leave us locked in infinitely complex details of form. Where 12 upholds the supreme coordination of third-dimensional physical order, 13 ushers in the supreme revelation of the fourth and fifth dimensional spiritual synchronic order. The cosmic tone beckons us to transcend the limiting logic of linear time that we may expand into radial time. We are coiled to sensitize to the spiritually synchronized symphony of universal movement as it plays and unfolds the unique music of every moment. And it is said about Kuan Yin, this isn't in the book, this is just off the cuff. It says in some of the information about Kuan Yin that she was the orchestrator of the cosmic sound of the earth. That just makes me happy. And here they're talking about the cosmic tone beckons us to transcend the limiting logic of linear time that we may expand into radial time. We're called to sensitize to the spiritually synchronized symphony of universal movement as it plays and unfolds the unique music of every moment. We are invited to consciously feel the interconnectedness of all life. We are invited to consciously feel the interconnectedness of all life, to be present to the spirit which moves through all manifestations. And we're in a healing field, so I didn't go through connect to your deep self, connect to your high self, higher self, ground yourself to the healing center of the earth, open the healing power of the one, and let go of anything not useful to you now. And if you want the seventh dimensional beings, the Hathors, to work with you, state out loud, I choose to work with the Hathors. So you set that up, but we're in a healing field and we are at an event that would be the highest good for us to release and integrate at this time. So just know that there's a healing event going on at the same time we do this. To be present to the spirit which moves through all manifestations, guiding all arrangements of space and configurations of consciousness. We discover that we are always inherently on time by knowing we are time. As the climax of the wave spell's progression, tone 13 can embody qualities of any of the previous tones. 13 is the key to time itself, presence, simple, patient awareness, receptivity to exactly what is occurring as it is occurring, receptivity to what is occurring as it is occurring, as it is flowing through you. Presence bestows depths of feeling, intimate information and guidance held within the living intelligence of the moment. The living intelligence of the moment. We commune with the vastness of self, the deep self, the higher self, the highest self, the earth self, the sky self, all the other beings that are self. the essence self, which transcends all appearances of separation. The essence self transcends all appearances of separation. Every moment we're presented with the opportunity to transcend seeming limitations, to elevate our thoughts and behaviors beyond conditioned responses. By orienting in the present as presence, we expand and feel our undeniable interrelations with all of life. When we are present to every situation as a divinely calibrated opportunity to personal clarity and growth, we transform our suffering or striving into the beauty of human evolution, honoring life as an eternal journey of being. As the tone of endurance, 13 is the force of the continuum. The force of the continuum. Ever onward, life unfolds, integrating all that has gone before. Here we transcend through the cosmic gate, taking magic flight, magnetic return, led back to one for a new wave spell's spiral flow. So we are led back to one. This is the beginning of the next cycle on the planet, and you were so in tune on a cosmic level that you paid attention and incarnated at a time where you could be part of this awakening. How brilliant are you to be here at this time? Yeah, it involved a fair amount of suffering, at least for me, because I had the belief that in order to heal, you had to suffer. And I just have released it in the last few months, suffering much less, moving through things much quicker. But for 73 and a half years, I suffered fairly continuously. And I choose to let that go. And I no longer find that belief to be useful. And I do not find many beliefs to be useful. And I do not find many habits to be useful. And I used to need real clear, firm boundaries because I tended to feel everything that was going on around me and, vibrate with it. And now I'm more and more just in a place of, in my center, letting the energy come in and letting the energy go out and mix with whatever energy is in the world around me. Just all mixes. There are fewer boundaries required for me currently. They're still there, but there's fewer need of this, hold that energy out and work with this energy here. I'm not suggesting it. I'm just saying, like, there are different times in life we need different things. Okay, so what is this yellow sun? What is this day of new beginnings? Completions and new beginnings. So yellow is about the south. Yellow is about ripening. And it's also about the crown chakra, the golden light of the higher dimensional beings. The golden light is the light that heals the soul. It was the light in Atlantis they used for soul healing, the golden light. It enlightens. It's about universal fire, and it's about life moving, the power of life. And then there was a quote by Hafiz, who's, I think, a Sufi poet. And Hafiz, it's in quotes, so he might have said or written, "One day the sun admitted, I'm just a shadow. I wish I could show you the infinite incandescent that has cast my brilliant image. I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. Take it in and let it out." Yellow sun provokes us to honor the solar life force that sustains our planetary whole. As our local star, the sun is the lens through which we receive radiant emanations of energy, information transmitted from the center of the galaxy, our central sun, the Hunan Ku. I love these words. Let us receive the majesty of this universal fire, that it may ignite and enlighten our inner sun, solar plexus, our internal source of divine light. May we awaken to the precious reality of who we truly are. Wouldn't you think that that would be your soul's goal, if it had a goal, was to awaken to the reality of who we truly are? Sparks of the same great fire of life which illuminates eternity? And we are, but it's nice to awaken to it. Yellow sun signifies both 0 and 20, presenting a union of formless potential and formed wholeness, nothingness and totality. 0 is empty so that it may hold everything. When we hold to nothing, no prides or fears, we consciously merge with life's totality by releasing all the layers of personal identification and conditioning. We can rest in the sacred emptiness of our essence, which is pure life. Foregoing the attainment of concepts of enlightenment, we can discover our true nature is enlightened. Let us release the striving for betterment and accept the awesome actuality that already is. Allow the universal fire to burn away doubt and debate. All questions are answered by the searing truth of that which we've always been. The 0. We've always been the big 0. Formless consciousness, wholeness. And there's one saying at the end by Dogen, 13th century Zen master: to let the self be awakened by all things is enlightenment. To let the self be awakened by all things is enlightenment. Sit in those words and in the energy that came through them or with them. And as we sit here, I'm going to ask the higher self to take us, the higher self to assist all of our souls who return to this event to combine with that part of our soul that had remained at the event and bring that combined soul back into the body in present time. with all of its wisdom, power, and clarity, compassion, curiosity, and kindness, and grounding ourselves in the healing center of the earth with peace and joy, we open up the portal for the delivery of the new energies into the earth at this time, and we ask that the new energies be brought in now. A whole new level of energies coming in now. But we're already attuned to them, so they won't seem too much. And then we ask that they be activated. And we let the universe and beyond know that this has been done and that is good. Okay, this will be the first video that I've made for the next 13,000 year cycle. And I'm hoping that there'll be many more. Because 13,000 times, 13,000 years, it can be a lot of coming and going if you're coming in for shorter periods of time as a human, or hanging out in the other levels for periods of time. Not that time exists as we know it here, but no matter what, the construct of a 13,000 year cycle around the central sun is that large construct. I'm going to go ahead and mention this. So when I did my spirit travel back to the central sun, and then I went through the vortex into the void, I went in and out of there a number of times. I think maybe 3 times I was told to go in and out and go back in and come out and go back in and come out. And I was told that it was anchor me to the place. And then when I went in, I think the 3rd time I felt a presence. So I just waited to sense who this was. And I realized it was the Divine Mother. And you can make up constructs about that, or you can kind of tune into that place and who was there. And I said in my mind, "Hello, Mother." And she said, "Hello, son." And she said, "I'm very proud of you." Now, I was doing some interesting stuff, but I wasn't feeling necessarily good about my life or myself or what I was doing. I mean, I was doing interesting things, but I didn't feel like I was doing as much as I could have done in terms of consciousness and the earth and such. But here was the Divine Mother saying, "I'm very proud of you." I was getting ready to argue with her. And all of a sudden the thought came to me was, this is the Divine Mother. There's no sense in arguing. And I said, okay. So I said, thank you. And that was it. That was the communication. Hello, Mother. Hello, son. You're doing a great job. I'm very proud of you. But it was basically, you're doing a great job. And I'm like, okay. Thanks for seeing it that way. Maybe I can start seeing it that way at some point. When I went into the central sun, and there were just beings there, just beings and beings and beings in the central sun, and it wasn't hot. And I began interacting with some of these beings, and I said, why does this place seem so familiar? And one of the beings said to me, well, because you used to live here. And I mean, this place was just filled with peace and love. And you could just feel peace and love radiating from this place. And being in it was like kind of ecstatic. And I was kind of like, whoa, this is amazing. No drugs involved, just so you know. This just was straight spirit travel. But the being said, you used to live here. And I said, well, why did I leave? And the being said to me, you got bored. And I totally got it. Me sitting and radiating peace and love, I prefer doing it in a human body. I prefer building structures and fixing broken things and fixing broken people and fixing broken selves. I like this human experience. That's why I'm here. And I came in the same way everybody else, into a body that was from ancestors that had been traumatized for a very long time. And more than likely, if you trace your ancestry back, there is just trauma, trauma, trauma. A lot of it unresolved. So our job is to just release and integrate all the energies as it shows up for us in our consciousness. And by healing this body, we heal the earth. And by radiating out this love, light, peace, joy, by radiating that out, we have an impact on the vibrations of the planet. And there are enough of us to have a very large impact. And I spell team, T-I-A-M, because I always wanted to answer honestly when they asked, is there an I in team? I could say yes. There's an I in team, and there's an I am in team as well. And I am that I am, and you are that I am, and we are that I am, which is part of a oneness, a creative collaboration of consciousness streaming through us all the time and bringing light into the world. It's been a pleasure doing these videos for the last, whatever it is, 15 months. And it's been a pleasure working with the world healing field. Not always felt that way, but I'm just saying it's a pleasure to have worked with that world healing field for the past 5 years. And to have worked with the energies that Abraham and I brought in 28 years ago. And to have been on this planet through a lot of time periods where I was able to support people in healing. And now that this is happening more and more on the internet, the healing is going further and further out, and more people are just participating in the healing field, which not only heals their world and their ancestral world, but heals them as well. And now I think I've made a very long video, so this is going to take a while to upload. And I appreciate you so much. All of you who are working with the healing of the planet and the healing of self, which heals the planet, and the healing of others because they're around someone who's healing. I just appreciate that. All right, now can go change. A woman.